also don't like it to be too yellow because then it can look a bit weird, just like too goldy. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel, which is all about transparent and honest beauty. Today is the Beauty 101 on bronzer, blush and highlighter. So I'm going to cover everything you need to know about bronzer, blush and highlighter. Also, don't forget that I do have some previous videos which are within my Beauty 101 series covering skincare, concealer and contour, foundation, brows and eyes. So make sure you do go check them out. If you do like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. All of those likes and you guys subscribing and leaving your feedback really does help me create better content for you guys. So thank you so much. You can also catch me on Instagram where you can follow my stories for some daily beauty news. So let's jump straight into the video. My skincare, concealer, contouring, foundation, brows and eye makeup is all done, and you can actually watch those separate videos, and links for those are in my description box below because those are videos that I've previously done as part of this whole Beauty 101 series that I'm doing. Now, you guys have sent in some questions, so I'm going to kick off with the first question. So bronzing is basically for a sun-kissed look. So if you want a nice sun-kissed golden tanned look, then you would use bronzer. But you can also use bronzer in areas that you would contour. So you can kind of get the best of both. So I prefer doing it that way. It doesn't mean you have to. You can use it as in a traditional method just for a sun-kissed look, which doesn't have to be in the areas that you would usually contour. But I like using it in the areas that I would contour because it just helps to define those areas at the same time, but give me that nice sun-kissed look in those areas. Now, blush is used to add color to the face. It adds more vibrancy to the face and just gives you more of a nice flushed kind of look to your skin. You can use this in different areas, but it is great if you want to add some color and if you feel like you're just lacking something, and it just adds that really nice flush of color. Highlighter is used to highlight certain areas, so it's used to enhance those areas. Now, I like to apply it on areas like the tops of the cheekbone and also the tip of the nose. There are various different areas that people would use it. You can kind of go all in with a lot of highlighter, or you can just keep it very subtle, which is what I prefer. But anywhere you apply it, the light will kind of reflect off of it, bounce off of those pigments, and it kind of like highlights that area. Not necessarily. Not everyone needs bronzer. Not everyone has to use bronzer. It isn't really a case of whether you need it. It's really a case of whether you want to use it. So if you like a nice sun-kissed glow, then you can use bronzer for that. But if you don't really like that kind of bronzed look, then you don't have to use bronzer. So no, you don't have to use bronzer. You use it if you feel that you want to go for that type of sun-kissed, nice warm glow. Now, your skin tone is relevant when it comes to picking your bronzer shade, because your bronzer shade should be a couple of shades or a few shades darker than your skin tone. Now, my skin tone falls into the warmer category, so the warmer toned bronzers actually look better on my skin tone, whereas a cool toned bronzer is just not going to look right on my skin, and it's going to end up looking quite ashy on my skin. Now, if you have very pale skin and it's much more of a cool kind of tone to it, then you're going to work better with cool bronzers. So you've got to stick to the category that your skin tone fits in with. So rule of thumb generally is to make sure it's a few shades darker than your skin tone, but within your skin tone category. It really depends on the type of finish that you like for your makeup in general. If you prefer more of a matte finish for your overall makeup look, then I would say that a powder bronzer is better for you. That's what I use because I prefer a matte finish. If you prefer more of a dewy, glowy finish to your overall makeup look, then I would say a cream or liquid bronzer is perfect for you. Yes, you can use bronzer instead of contouring powders or contouring creams. I personally do that. I absolutely love it because I prefer more of a sun-kissed glow to my face. I like it to have that nice sun-kissed golden feel to it. So I would much rather use a bronzer so that it gives me that depth to my skin. So it's a few shades darker than my skin tone, but it also has that really nice kind of warm golden undertone to it, so that it equally, as well as on contouring, it also helps to give me that nice bronzed kind of like glow to my skin. Now I'm going to use my Fenty Beauty Sunstalker Bronzer in Private Island. This shade is perfect for me because it actually blends into my skin tone really well. Even though it is a couple of shades darker than my skin tone, it's close enough that it just blends in, and so I have a kind of seamless transition into the skin, and I don't have to worry about bulk powder or like a difference in color being anywhere. I'm using my Hourglass brush because I absolutely love this brush, and I'm using this kind of the bigger side of it. And I'm going to take this into the perimeter of my face, and like I said earlier, I am going to show you how I use bronzer into the areas that I would contour, because that's how I like to use bronzer. But you can use bronzer in the traditional way, which is basically getting a big brush and applying it to the areas where the sun would naturally hit your face for that sun-kissed look. That's another way to apply bronzer, which is the more traditional way. This way, I prefer using it this way so that I can kind of like get that nice sculpted look, and at the same time, it gives me a really nice golden kind of sun-kissed look at the same time. I'm gonna take this into my hairline. You can see it's already warming up this area here. I'm taking it into the hairline. I love that whole kind of like darker perimeter of the face. I just feel like it just gives a really nice depth to the face. Okay, now I'm gonna take this just here. I'm gonna go in with a different bigger brush shortly, but I'm just gonna like roughly get my placement right. And I'm just kind of like buffing it into the skin. Taking it under the jawline, just to kind of like define that area. I'm gonna get my slightly bigger Hourglass brush now, but I'm using the smaller part of it. And this is where I'm just gonna kind of like really light, I'm pressing very lightly, by the way, guys. I've got my placement right with that other brush. And again, you don't have to use two brushes and do this the way that I'm doing, but I like to do it this way because it's just my preference. And I like to just add that extra definition here. Now you can also take this bronzer kind of like under the eye here, and it warms up that under eye area to also give you that kind of like sun-kissed look. So picking the right blush texture, again, same as bronzer, it depends on the type of overall finish that you want for your makeup. Now, if you want to opt for more of a cream or liquid blush, then that will give you more of a kind of glowy finish to your skin, and it will also give you that dewiness to your skin. If you have very dry skin, I would always opt for a cream texture, regardless of whether you're using bronzer, blush, or highlight. But if you want more of a dewy finish to your skin, then definitely opt for a cream. And if you want more of a matte finish, then you can opt for a powder, which is what I prefer. The color of the blush that you use or pick really depends on what your preference is. Like, what do you prefer? I personally prefer more kind of like coral tones, so I use more kind of like orangey peachy shades. Today I've opted for a very kind of like pinkish look, so I'm going to go for a pink. Now again, it really does depend on what you like. If you have very kind of more of a pink undertone to your skin, and it usually is quite obvious, I wouldn't go towards a pink blush. I would maybe pick more of a kind of like peachy tone so that you're not adding more pink to your skin. So have a look at what your skin is like, what your undertone is like. If you have too much pink in there already, don't go for a pink blush. You might want to opt for something different so that you can just change it up a bit and so that you're not adding too much of that color. I'm going to show you right now. Now I'm using the Pat McGrath blush in Divine Rose, and I'm using my MAC 100 brush. I had someone say they were trying to look for this brush and they couldn't find it. Honestly, any kind of medium-sized stipple brush is going to work fine. Now I've applied the blush onto my brush, and now I'm going to apply this just up here because I want that nice kind of like pink blush coming through. I don't like applying it here. I like applying it here because it gives me more of a lifted look. So I apply it on the tops of the cheekbone. Okay, so highlighter will basically help to enhance certain areas, and it helps to finish off giving depth to the face. So the bronzer gives depth, the blush adds color to your face, and the highlighter can help to kind of like just highlight certain areas, the peaks of your face, so that you get that really nice kind of like light reflecting off of that area. So the texture of the highlighter, it doesn't really matter regardless of your skin tone. It really is dependent on your skin type as opposed to your skin tone. Now, in terms of the color, you want to make sure you pick a highlighter which actually complements your skin tone. So for example, for me, I prefer using more warmer highlighters, or if I have found a kind of highlight which is a little bit whiter, I prefer there to be a subtle hue of kind of like warm or kind of golden hue to it, just so that it doesn't look so white on my skin. I think a couple of good highlighters are one, which is what I'm going to use shortly, which is the Stila Heaven's Hue highlighter in Kitten. Another one which is amazing is the Hourglass palette, which is the Universe Unlocked palette volume 2, which has an amazing golden highlighter in there. I also don't like it to be too yellow because then it can look a bit weird, just like too goldy. The color needs to complement your skin tone. Don't opt for too much of a light, like whitish highlighter if you've got quite warm skin tone or if you're tanned or dark skin. I'm going to show you that right now. So I'm using my Heaven's Hue highlighter from Stila, which is in Kitten, and I'm using my 134 brush from Zoeva. I'm just going to apply this just on the tops of my cheekbone. Like I said earlier, I don't actually like applying too much highlight. That's enough, I think, for that area. I like applying it just at the tops of my cheekbone, and I do sometimes I'll apply it here because I like that. It just adds some dimension to my face, and when I have an overly matte look, I like to kind of apply it in those areas so that it doesn't look so matte. I like creating a matte look so that it lasts all day, and because my skin isn't super smooth, so I don't want to enhance any kind of like pitting or any kind of bumpiness on my skin, so that's why I like to have it all matte. Although I would love to have like glowy makeup on, but it just enhances all my flaws. So I apply that highlighter in certain areas to give the illusion of a slight dewy look. I also apply a little bit of the highlight, I can use my finger for this, on the tip of my nose, there. Just a little bit, and then I kind of like rub it off so it's not too much. And then a little bit there. I hope that's answered all of your questions on bronzer, blush and highlighter. Any more questions, let me know in the comments box below. As always, if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. Until the next video, take care and I'll see you soon.